this year to bless this here mic till your brain burst. Your guest appeared twice and the check will clear 3 times for the same verse. I was always a demon.
Hello everyone, Darko2012 here with Global Government News. And just like the last 2 times, it's been about, a week since I made my last video. I've just been busy doing other things, and I hope all of you are doing well. And we have this story here. It's titled Polish President Dies in Russian Plane Crash. So this is something that I think most of you are aware of, about the plane that went down. I believe it was yesterday, but this article is from April 10th, 2010. So yes, I believe this is the original article that was carried by the AP, and I saw it on Yahoo News. And I'll just read a few paragraphs here, and I'll tie it in with a few other articles, and maybe you can try drawing your own conclusion, but I'm going to try to give my little thoughts on this. Being that I know, well, not that I know, just that, you know, I'm mostly Irish and Polish, and I'm a little bit of Swedish, but, you know, most of my heritage has been royally fucked. So, you know, whether it was Irish or Polish, they've been royally fucked in history. And so I do get a little aggravated when I hear certain cultures and colors of people bitching and moaning, because I don't think there's been more people that have been fucked over than the Polish people and the Irish people. So I just wanted to say that. Thank you. Says Polish President Lech Kaczynski and some of the country's highest military and civilian leaders died on Saturday when the presidential plane crashed as it came in for landing in thick fog in western Russia, and it killed 97 according to officials. Russian and Polish officials said there were no survivors on the 26-year-old Tupolev, which was taking the president, his wife, and staff to events marking the 70th anniversary of the massacre in Kadian Forest of thousands of Polish officers by the Soviet secret police. So, yeah, that's the irony of the whole thing, is that basically the president, and here we go right here, I'll just name this, all the people that were on this plane. The crash had devastated the upper echelons of Poland's political and military establishments. On board were the Army Chief of Staff, the Navy Chief Commander, and the heads of the air and land forces. So I guess you could just say the Army, the heads of the Army as well. Also killed were the National Bank President, the Deputy Foreign Minister, I guess that would be considered our Secretary of State, like Hillary Clinton, Army Chaplain, Head of the National Security Office, which would be like the NSA, Deputy Parliament Speaker, Olympic Committee Head, which is just kind of like the chaplain. It's like, wow, you know, I'm sorry to hear that, but Civil Rights Commissioner, and at least 2 presidential aides and 3 lawmakers, the Polish Foreign Ministry said. So a lot of the higher-ups were on this plane, and the only reason they were all on this plane together was because they were going to celebrate this massacre of Polish officers, thousands of Polish officers by the Soviets back in the day. So they were going to do that to not celebrate, I'm sorry if I use that word, but to commemorate the slaughter, and of course here they are crashing on the way to it. So, but I think the other thing that we need to look at here, and according to this article, you know, it says let's go up here, the 26-year-old Tupolev, and then when you go down here, it basically says that these planes were pretty old. It says, according to the Aviation Safety Network, there's been 66 crashes involving the Tu-154s in the past 4 decades, including 6 in the past 5 years. The Russian carrier Aeroflot recently withdrew its Tu-154 fleet from service, largely because the planes do not meet international noise restrictions and use too much fuel. So I guess they would have you to believe that this plane went down because, well, it was just a shitty plane. But that was a very long article, and I'll post the link. I advise you to check it out or recommend it. This one is the Government Against the People's website, and it's governmentagainstthepeople.wordpress.com. The title of this article is Poland's leaders move to weaken currency, then die in plane crash. This was posted the day of the crash. It says there's no telling if the two events are connected, but their timing is mighty interesting, much like the massacre. Do I know? Does Darko know? No, I don't know for sure. But crazy shit like this happens, so just weird coincidences. The Polish government and the National Bank of Poland, in a rare moment of unity, agree to weaken Poland's currency, the zloty, in an act that would benefit Poland's exporters at the expense of Poland's trading partners, that is, the European Union, among others. Then, the next day, Poland's president and the president of its national bank die in a plane crash. And I like what this person writes here. It says, Poland has been dragging its feet in adopting the euro and joining the European Union, having pushed back its target date for doing so until 2015. Here in the U.S., we might say that Poland is not a, quote, team player. In the New World Order, bad things happen to leaders who aren't team players. So it's an important point to make because I'm going to go to this third article here. And so I guess the point that I'm making here in this video is that it's not just Russia. It's not just Russia with the missile shield. So now you have, you know, the Russia with the Polish plane and all the dignitaries and the president and all them going to celebrate this or commemorate, sorry, this massacre of Polish officers in Russia, and then their plane crashes. But then, of course, you have the president who was Mr. President Kaczynski of Poland, basically, who was for the missile shield along the Russian border. If you're not aware, I think most of you are, that Poland was acquired into the Soviet Union when all the borders and land snatching and kind of the turf warfare or whatever you want to call it was going on in World War II and World War I. And they were trying to separate themselves from the Russians, basically. So you got the missile shield, you got the massacre, and then now you got them wanting to do something with their currency that would help their exporters, Polish exporters, but you know, it wouldn't be good for the European Union. So now that's a third thing. So it's not just the Russians, it's also the European Union. That the president, when I've been reading, he basically he was I guess considered a conservative and nationalistic, which would be, I guess, for the people of Poland, and he kind of liked to bypass the EU, and he liked the United States and the NATO branch of what we call the world government, global government. So he was basically kind of trying to play both sides. I mean, it's pretty hard when you're, like I said, the Polish people who've been shit on for so many years, that or the Irish, you know, it's just like you got to play the game. You gotta appease the Russians, and then you gotta appease the West, and then you gotta appease England and the European Union, while at the same time trying to win over the hearts and minds and not the loyalty, but the hearts and minds of your people, the support of your people. So it's a hard game to play. But either way, it's like this is what the whole World War II thing was about. It was about breaking down nations and stripping them of their sovereignty, and then having that vacuum where, you know, countries like this would be sucked into it. And either way, you run from the Russians, well, you're going to a world government. You run from the NATO and them, well, you're going into world government. So, and you got this article, Kaczynski, often a source of tension within the EU. Like Kaczynski, who died on Saturday in a plane crash in western Russia, rose from childhood, and he said he died when he was 60. I recommend you checking out this article as well. It says Poland joined the EU in 2004, but Mr. Kaczynski often preferred dealing with the United States. And then it says as soon as Kaczynski took office, he basically forged close relations with the Ukraine and Georgia and determined to bring them closer to NATO, eventually having them admitted to the American-led military organization. It says his defense of the two countries often upset leading members of the EU, especially Germany, which was concerned that the expanded NATO would make Russia feel threatened. Well, no, I mean, think about it now. So yeah, you have, that's the exact thing that we're talking about, is that not only are the Russians pissed off that they're back in Ukraine and Georgia, but then they themselves are separating, and then they're pissing off the EU. So there's really no way to win with this. And what is the answer? Well, they create some fog and give you the wrong coordinates, and boom,